not the hands. Let's see.
What sort of head do you wear?
It's catwalk. Vento, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta have the Vento. Let's see here. I usually don't have to worry. I don't think about these things, of course. Trying to get the mouth to move. Let's see. I'm sure there's a way. I'm just... let's see. Neutral. I don't know. Does anybody in the audience know? Yeah, I'm glad you can hear me, but, you know,
that's the important thing.
Yeah, that is.
And you can wave your hands around. I mean, I think it's rather cute you keep waving your hands around.
We will get it to work, or we'll figure out something. As long as people can hear me, then we're good. Oh, Impeccable says to look for the catwalk gestures. In the folder or on the HUD? Because I almost never open the folder ones. Okay.
It is a separate, it should be a separate gesture somewhere in the folder. It's like a dance gesture.
Let's see here. I should know this, so I love that I'm learning something new. I thought I knew it all. All right, let's see here. Where's the gestures? I might need to unpack the gestures. Excuse me, pardon me. I'm going to do the noob thing.
Remind me that I have turned you two guys down, so that I'm not getting you double. So once this is over, remind me to turn you up again.
Oh, okay.
So then I don't get an echo. There you go. Right.
All right. Which gesture is it that I want? I see. Is it the... Well, we'll just try this gesture, talk, sing. We'll try that one. Let's see what happens.
Okay. I have talk on and it's not working. So
Nope.
What I'm going to do is just gently tap my keyboard because that works. And you all get to see my lips move. Isn't that cute?
All right. Well, if I forget to make my lips move, I apologize, but I might have so many things going on, I might forget. As long as everybody can hear me, then I'm happy. You might not be happy that you can hear me, but I'm happy that you can hear me.
Good.
I may start dancing at any given moment as well. I just came from our first dance party this morning for the Come As You Were party, which was a blast. Let's see, how many people do I know in the audience?
Yeah, that's always cool.
Let me look at people nearby while we're waiting. We're close to getting started or not, I'm not sure here.
We are. We
Awesome.
are close. I'm ready to go. I'm just giving people time to hear.
I recognize lots of names. It's good to see everybody. Thanks for coming out.
That's cool.
Oh, we had a lot of Ruths at the party this morning, Pim. It was all about Ruth. Mama Ruth, so to speak. Mama Ruth.
Did lots of people come as their Ruths?
They did. Actually, our prize winner, which we did have a prize winner, had the full checklist. Base skin, original Ruth hair, which I lovingly like to refer to as peanut hair because it looks like a little peanut.
Yeah.
And had the base skin, the peanut hair, the bling, the clothing layers, the face light, the night, all of it. It was great. It's so fantastic.
Oh, do you remember those face lights that were like you? You were walking around with a major lighting rig with about 8 face
Oh
lights
yeah, I
pointed
still
at
have
you.
mine. Don't threaten, or I will put it. Don't threaten me, or I might put it on.
Mm.
Yes, I think it's called like the Face Light, or yeah, Face Light 3000 or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I still actually use a low light one just for the camera.
Yeah, I do for pictures. I definitely, and then I forget that I have it on, so I go wandering around,
Yeah.
and people are like, "You have a face light on." It's because I was using a dark wind light or something and wanted to brighten up my face. But yeah, it's kind of funny. In fact, when I got here today, I had one on. So
You were saying that the party environment was quite dark.
yeah, so I mean, it's really beautiful. It's because of the crystal theme. Of course, some of our folks that were building over there interpreted that a little bit more for like, no pun intended, but dark crystal. So it's kind of, you know, right up my alley, but lots of dark colors and then these like vivid saturated purples and stuff like that. But for me, I like to be able to see my avatar, so I threw a face light on. I threw a face light on. Yep. So.
Well, I'm going to say let's have the official start to the talk and me welcoming you, because we're already starting to talk about some of the things I wanted to talk about.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
So I'd like to say hello and welcome to Xiola Linden, who is joining me here for the first of 5 Linden talks. I will have Kira and Patch with me tomorrow, Ebby on Wednesday, Oz and Grumpety on Thursday, and Brett on Friday. So I've got kind of representatives of lots of different sections of the lab here, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me and for working with our schedules. It was sort of, as you can see, my herder of cats is my title this week. It's been that way for the last couple of weeks, actually. And I have to say that if there's anything harder than herding residents, it's herding Lindens. So, and I said herding, not hurting, because we don't hurt our Lindens or our residents. But yes, trying to get the schedules aligned to work with everybody. So I appreciate your flexibility with that. And hopefully she won't kill me for mentioning it, but Grumpety mentioned she's actually lost her voice. So we're on standby and hoping she's fully recovered by Wednesday so she can join Oz. But I'll definitely try to keep how that develops. You know, maybe she'll have to type. I don't know. We'll have to figure out something.
Right. Well, get her to wrap a scarf around that stickman throat of hers and gargle with lemon.
There you go. Herding dogs as well, yes. Cats and dogs. That's too long. That wouldn't fit on the title. It would be, ran out of characters.
Yeah. And frogs too, you know, hopping off in all directions.
Yes. It's been an exciting time. I'm like I was telling Safia, you guys will have to forgive me. I've had little sleep for the last couple of weeks. I'm a little punchy. I'm a little punchy when I get enough sleep, but when I don't get enough, I'm especially so.
Okay, I'm shuffling slightly further away and measuring arm length here on the sofa. So if you start throwing punches, they're not going to come.
Oh yeah, no, not that kind of punchy.
Okay.
Punch drunk punchy.
Okay, so let's. You've got a very hot Linden here. You've got Xiola. Hot Linden. Anyway, let's start off, because although we've got lots of friends here, some people I think are new and have maybe not have met you before. So I was wondering if you can tell us a little about yourself and how you came to work at the lab.
Sure, yeah. So I've been heading up community for Second Life, and then for a good chunk of time I was doing both Second Life and Sansar. and some of you may know me from both. And then now I'm back to focusing on Second Life. We hired some additional help because it was just way too much work for one person. It's still a lot of work for two people, but it definitely has made it a bit easier for me to spend more time, especially as we build into Second Life's 15th, oh my gosh, exclamation point, birthday celebrations. So yeah, I've been at the lab now almost 7 years. It'll be 7 years in November, doing community management for the full duration, which means I do pretty much everything from putting together these types of events that we're doing for the birthday, working with the rest of the marketing team on a lot of different initiatives. I do our social media. For those of you who don't know, this year we finally launched an Instagram. Figured since we were finally 15, we were responsible enough to have our own Instagram. So if you haven't checked us out over there, please do. And that's been a lot of fun, actually. It's been really interesting to kind of engage with the community social media platform outside of Second Life, which is probably the first and foremost place I do most of my talking. And so, yeah, hard to believe it's been 7 years. I originally started as a resident back in 2006 and kept an eye on jobs here after a friend of mine was the one who invited me originally to Second Life back then, who I knew from LiveJournal, and he was like, you have to come check this place out. Basically hang out and talk to people the way we all talk on, back then it was ICQ and AOL Messenger.
God,
yeah,
yes.
Back in the day. And Yahoo Pager before it became Yahoo Messenger, which actually I just read they're getting rid of, which is kind of sad. It's like a sign of the times. But
yeah.
he told me you could come here and you could basically hang out with people and talk, but you could be this sort of virtual representation of yourself and in an avatar form. And I thought, oh, that sounds cool. So I came in and from his invitation, and I was just telling the story. I legitimately thought you had to walk everywhere. I spent my first week in Second Life walking from place to place, trying to find, trying to find people that were listening to the same kind of music I liked, or trying to find places to go shopping, that sort of thing. And then my friend finally was like, "Oh, here, come hang out with me at the club," and he sent me a TP. And I thought, that's brilliant. I really like that I can teleport places. How could I not have known this originally? So after that, I just kept an eye on things in the lab to see what kind of jobs would open up. And it took a while before community type role position became available. And so, it's a long time coming. And now it's been 7 years since I started. Now it's still just as exciting and fun, and I miss working with two communities. But it's been nice to just kind of take a step back and be able to spend a little bit on Second Life, particularly now in this time when it's a phenomenal 15 years. I don't think there are too many products out there that can say the same. I think a couple of friends of mine had mentioned that EVE Online just celebrated their 15th birthday this year as well.
I thought that was a bit older. But, yeah.
I think maybe
not.
Maybe not.
Wow.
Oh no, maybe somebody can Google that for me. I don't want to spread any misinformation, but I thought they told me it was 15, and I thought, well, how cool. We're both turning 15.
Yes. There's a lot of us who've been celebrating our 10th birthdays, actually, because like Designing Worlds has, and Fantasy Fair has, and several other things seem to have been celebrating 10 years, which is great. But 15 is so much more impressive. It's, you're nearly a grown-up.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I remember putting together, we did, a lot of the same stuff back when we turned 10. And I remember working on that. Oh my gosh, that was I think that was probably boot camp for me in terms of trying to do event organization in Second Life. It was helping and planning 10th birthday, and I can't even believe that was 5 years ago. It feels like yesterday. It really does. I know that in Second Life, there's that weird time thing. You know, people say, was it a week in Second Life is equal to about a month real life,
Yeah.
quote unquote real life.
Yeah.
So, you know, the fact that, that it feels simultaneously like so long ago, but also like just yesterday, I always find really interesting.
Yes, I agree. You're actually, I mean, how can I put this politely? You are actually a Silicon Valley kid, aren't you? Well, I mean, you're not a kid anymore, obviously. You've been here 7 years. But you kind of grew up in the valley, didn't you?
Yes, I actually refer to myself as a Silicon Valley brat. So it's
I
okay.
was trying to be polite.
You were trying to be nice. That's okay. No, yes, I was born and raised in California in Silicon Valley, Northern California, otherwise known as the Yay area or Bay Area. And so what was really fortunate for me in that regard was that I got to fall into sort of the dot-com tech industry, working at Yahoo back in the day before Ebe did. They worked there as well, but he was been and gone, and that just really kind of set me on the trajectory that landed me where I've always really enjoyed working with creator community or creative communities, so to speak. Whether they're, doing what people do here in Second Life or, taking their talents and doing other things. There's a lot of really cool companies out now that really support creator communities. It's really nice to see that happening because I feel like Second Life is one of the first that really took people's talents and figured out ways that they could, one, express themselves and also, eventually get a little side hustle going on. So, So yes, I came up in that, and it's been amazing, and I'm really excited to see even where technology is headed in the future with things like VR and all of the things, obviously, that are going on with even just, not just technology, but the growing pains that come with that, as we've seen. There are a lot of things that people need to think about when you start pushing the envelope tech-wise. I've seen that with some of the other companies that have hit some of the things we're probably familiar with. Lots of quote-unquote griefers, and figuring out how to help people feel safe and comfortable in a virtual environment, whether it's here in life or some type of experience, Sansar. So trying to see kind of the technology that evolves around that as well is really interesting to me. How do you handle that kind of thing? What's it like to be in a VR situation and have somebody standing really close to you reach out and touch you on the shoulder that you may or may not be, willing or open to having? Like, those types of things are such new and interesting challenges that we're facing tech-wise, and I think that's just really, a lot of that problem solving is happening here in Silicon Valley. So it's a pretty exciting area, and I'm a little biased, like I said. Born and raised California girl, so I love it here.
Well, it's a great place. I've been a couple of times and I love it too. I even got to visit Linden Lab on my last visit.
Oh, was I there? Or was it more than 7 years ago?
It was more than 7 years ago.
I was going to say, nobody told me you were in the building.
10 years ago.
Oh, wow.
I tried not to leave any traces behind.
Well, if you did, they've probably been long gone as we went through a remodel a few years ago. So the office even looks different from when you were there. It's a lot more open.
I hope you still have a place where you can play Guitar Hero.
Yeah, I think we have some consoles somewhere. I don't spend any time there. I come home and play games, but I haven't played any games in the office other than a quick, they do board game night there once in a while. I think weekly, actually.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, so there's a lot of cool stuff.
Okay, so when you started, what were your first impressions of the lab? I mean, you'd already been working at Yahoo, so how did it compare with other tech companies? Did it seem different?
Absolutely. I think I've told the story before, but when I came in the first time for my interviews, and I walked through and met with the people that I met with. I think they had me meet with like 4 or 5 people, one of which was Brett Linden, who's going to be here on Friday. And I talked to him actually over the phone because he's based in Seattle, and so they patched him in, and we spoke on. And I just thought I had never, in all of my experience, which has been a pretty wild and diverse experience, have seen so much incredible diversity in any place I've ever worked or known about, really. So that was really impactful to me because it really felt like there was a lot of interesting energy just in the fact that there were so many different voices and so many different thoughts around things. And so that instantly sat with me. I obviously was a really big fan of the quote-unquote product of Second Life, and how amazing I felt that was, and creative and interesting. So I walked in there and it was like, oh, I found my people. Not just there in the office and in the company, but in Second Life itself. It was like tribe, I kind of found it. So my first impression was really just like, I can't wait to hear back and see if I'm going to be able to work there. Because, yeah, it was just an incredible, it still is to this day, I think, one of the most diverse and interesting places. We live in such a unique situation, again, in Silicon Valley, San Francisco area, where, that kind of progressive thinking is talked about day to day. So it's really nice to have kind of a work environment where we have those types of discussions and you see some of that work reflected in the workforce and the people that you work with every day. I love it. It's pretty incredible.
So what aspects of the job, the working bits of the job, do you like best?
Does it make me shallow if I say shopping? No, I do love shopping. I love shopping. And in fact, we get Lindens. They have some kind of a thing worked out where it doesn't totally wreck the economy to give us some money to play, some fun money, so to speak. And I will hit them up all the time, and they're like, did you already spend what we gave you? Like, you already went through all of those, Lindens. I love shopping, and I'm one of those people, it is so hard for me to turn away a fat pack. Even though I will end up wearing the same colors predominantly 90% of the time, I might want to wear that color one day, so I love buying fat packs. So that part of it is fun, and it's actually part of my job, really, to get out there and see what's going on and to really be to check out the types of shopping events, kind of like the one, shameless plug that we're having going on now, which we can talk about later. But also, for me, it's really about hearing. And I get to hear so many unique stories about how people came to Second Life and what Second Life means to them. And, I get a little emotional thinking about it. I mean, it's a very powerful thing for a lot of people. And to be able to hear that and share those stories and have those conversations with people. Oh, it's like an origin story. Like, you have your original origin story, right? You were born into the world. You grew up this way, that, and then second origin story. A lot of times I feel like it's kind of like I don't want to say it's like a rebirth, but it's almost like a parallel birth, right? That you have, and it's a way to kind of, for some people, to redo things that they maybe feel like didn't happen for them right the first time. I don't know. That might sound a little strange, but it's really great when people come and tell you their stories about what Second Life has to mean to them, or that they met somebody, that they got married, that their best friend that they've now known for 15 years came to visit them. You know, those types of things are just incredible. And I think that's probably the people are the best part. Community is the best part. Job.
That's lovely. I know that people have talked about, certainly in the child community, how having Second Life and actually being a child in Second Life has helped them resolve issues they've had in their real lives, just as people who haven't had children and who wanted children have benefited in Second Life. And those stories, I think, are really inspiring.
Yeah, I mean, there's something very, very therapeutic. We know this, right? Like play is therapeutic. Fantasy is therapeutic. There are so many things that Second Life lets us do naturally in a way that, like, see, my Silicon Valley came out. I'm saying like a lot. Like. Just call me the Silicon Valley. But, you know, fantasy is, like I said, fantasy is therapeutic and healthy, and play is therapeutic and healthy, and we can do all of those things in safe and accepting community, and I think that that's really powerful for a lot of people. You know I personally find it therapeutic to buy as many clothes as I do without actually impacting if I were to buy all of the stuff I buy in Second Life in my offline life, having to sell my house to keep up with my shopping habits. So, you know, there's just a lot of things, and I think that, like you said, that there's a way to do things that they didn't get to do or can't do, who are able to come in here and have mobility, disabilities. They can come in and they can run, do and walk, even do a lot of the things that they maybe are unable to. And just, yeah, there's a lot of that. And that's, like I said, that's, I think, one of the most powerful things. And when you hear those stories from people, it really, for me, it's like, yeah, I'm at the right place.
Good. Turning that round slightly, what do you find most challenging?
I would say, I think for me, the most challenging part is to try to please all the people, right? We, of course, as a business, want to be able to tap into some of the larger communities and things of that nature and find ways in which we can introduce Second Life to new people who maybe haven't experienced it. But then also, you know, we have so many of these niche communities. We want to try to engage with and involve as many as you can, as often as you can. But it's just an impossible thing to do. And because, you know, you want to focus on one theme, and I know we have a lot of folks who have been using that very, I don't want to put words in their mouth, but they can get a little upset if they see an advertisement that they perceive to be a little bit, like, I think we did one that was a beach, and there were people in bathing suits on the beach, and I think there was a little bit of an outcry, like, oh, people are going to think that Second Life is only about sexy sex things, and we fight against that all the time. And, you know, we want to listen to our longstanding residents, and of course we're concerned about people having the wrong idea as well, but at the same time we do have to reach out to audiences through in order to bring new people in. And so I think that's really the kind of the hard part, is really juggling all of those interest groups and people, and trying to sort out what order and priority to work on what. The hardest piece for me.
Yeah, I can imagine. I know that recently I did a series of shows with Mari McCann, looking at the 10 years of designing worlds, looking at Second Life over the last 10 years. And basically, any time an innovation was introduced, people were there was someone up in arms about it. Someone who declared Second Life would never be the same again.
Oh yes, we have. We say it's the sky is falling. I hear that a lot in our community, right? We get the sky is falling people, and I understand. I mean, there's something really interesting about this community, and by community again, I mean all of these niche communities that exist under the giant umbrella that we call our Second Life resident community. And I think. I don't know. I feel like in any of the places I've ever been at, I've never encountered so much resistance to change, which I try to understand and try to grasp a better idea in talking to people why there's that fear there. And I understand there's a long history between Linden Lab and residents, and I understand that long history has ups and downs, and I think maybe some of that stems from some of that long history that we have. But at the same time, I also am so astounded and amazed when we introduce these new features and things, the incredible things that develop from it. Vento, for example, being one of the last big recent things. I mean, I don't think we really imagined. Obviously, we wanted it to become a big thing, and we were like really excited about it and worked on it for a really long time. But to see what's been done with it, and to see the incredible creatures that people make using the extra bones and faces and everything else has been really amazing to me. So there's this kind of, it's interesting that these two things coexist, this fear of change with also this excitement about embracing the new technology and pushing it further than we at Linden Lab could ever have imagined. And so that's something I spend a lot of time thinking about and talking to people about. It's like, what is the fear of change? Why are we so resistant to it? And I get it. It's kind of that mentality of like, if it's not broke, why fix it? But but we gotta keep pushing forward, and that's part of the reason why Second Life is to say 15 years later, we're still here, we're still amazing. In fact, we're better than ever.
Absolutely. I was thinking of just looking at us, because I've got my camera turned around to look at us. Rather sorry, audience, but I don't want to crash, and this way only look at two of us. I was noticing we're both wearing Vento Hands, so our hands are gliding naturally from sort of realistic position to realistic position.
Yeah, and it's so cool. Yeah, the animations that have come with Vento too are just, it's awesome. And I think that was something, and I still hear people who have yet to be convinced that Vento is a good thing. And they're entitled to have that opinion for sure, and they may have a very valid reason for staying away from Vento. But like I said, it's always interesting to hear that sort of, we don't want anything to change, but ooh, this thing is new and shiny, and we kind of like it. So, that's just kind of how it goes.
Okay, I'm going to pick up on a comment from CB Axel in the audience, who said, my first Vento animation was a butt scratching one.
All right. Vento, making it possible to scratch your butt more realistically. Okay.
Now, what I'm going to do is ask a few questions that have come in as we've been talking, and then I'm going to start talking about the events that you've been organising.
All right, sounds good.
Okay. Did you ever find yourself at a helper community such as NCI? Have you visited any of those, or back in the day, or do you keep in touch with them?
I have visited a few of them. They're really good at running themselves, to be honest with you. I think they probably deal with Patch and Kira and that team a lot more than I do. But I can say back when I first joined, I don't know if that program was happening in 2006. It would have been in like the fall of 2006. I think September was when I first joined. If there was a program like that, I was actually trying to remember my I remember that day and coming in and thinking I had to walk everywhere. But when we were reminiscing earlier today at the party, I was trying to think of where I actually first landed, and I couldn't remember. I do know now that I still, whenever I end up accidentally getting shot into a quote-unquote safe hub, I want to run as fast as I can out of there. That happened to me. I was actually trying to teleport into some of the and I forgot to turn on my special spooky powers. And so I logged in and I dropped into one of those. I don't think I ever run as fast. But yeah, no, certainly if any of those groups have questions or whatever, they can always come to me. But I'm pretty sure they do a majority of their interactions with Patch and his team, because they're the ones that really do a lot of that program. And even like the community. So.
Okay, another question that we've had is, do you have a non-Linden avatar that you use?
Yes, actually, we were just talking about her. She's the one I've had her since 2006.
Mm-hmm.
I've had her since I'm sorry if my mic is chopping. I'll try to. I don't know why that would be, but yeah, I joined in 2006, and I actually still use her probably every day to check in on things. She has her own little business and shop, and so I have to log in and make sure I clear through my messages and that sort of thing. So, so yeah, absolutely. And I spend as much time keeping her up to date as I do Xiola. That's a lot of time spent shopping, dating. It's a lot of fun. Okay. Yeah.
Someone has actually asked me, how many Lindens do you spend a month on average? I am actually thinking that you might answer for the alt, or you might answer for Xiola, but possibly not both.
Yeah, I could say probably I'll answer for my alt. For Xiola,
yeah,
I don't want to say little, but I would say, yeah, on my alt I probably, let's see, on average, let's do the math here. On average, I probably buy at least 4 or 5 new hairs a month, fat packs. So you're looking at somewhere between 12 and 2,000 Linden fat pack. Plus, for the longest time, when Catwa was coming out with a new bento head, like every month, I was buying a new bento head. So that's another 5. Yeah, I have a collection. If any of you have seen Return to Oz, the movie Return to Oz with a little teeny tiny Balkan, teeny tiny Dorothy, and there's what's her name, Mumbai, I think her name is, who walks into the room and she's got all these heads inside of jars, and she takes one head off and pulls another head out and puts it on like that. That's seriously, I have a collection like that. Bento heads. So there's that. And then clothing, I'm a little bit more particular. I think I do a lot of fat packs for Xiola, but for my personal alt, I usually tend to stick to a couple of colors and things. So yeah, and I try to hit up all of the events. I go, gosh, I don't want to miss anybody, but there's Fame Shed, Collaborate. I always say Fame Shed. It might be called Famished. We've had arguments about this. Collaborate 8. Yes. Gosh, the only ones that I will say that I tend to, I think, maybe I'm only speaking for myself, I've gotten a little bit, I've spent a little bit less time at gotcha events lately. Mostly because for me, gotchas were fun for me when it was things like decor items and little tchotchkes and decorations and things like that. When they started doing hair and skins and stuff like that, sometimes in gotchas, it got a little frustrating for me because you have your personal affinity. You're either a fan of certain tone, certain creator. So I still go to those events because there's still usually a couple of things that I'm really interested in. Yes. But I definitely spend less time doing that than I do to sort of some of the more. So I don't know if anybody was doing the math, but it's, say, at least probably 15,000-20,000 Lindens a month. Yeah.
Yeah.
I basically burn through my any kind of what do you call it, that I'm profit that I make running my little business there. I burn through it pretty quick.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I am Xiola and I am a shopaholic. Yes.
Yes.
I think several of us could probably do that. Vulcan, asking questions about voice technology. I know several people have done that. That might be a good question to ask Oz, who's coming up on Thursday. Because Oz can talk about technical things like that. I mean, Xiola, do you want to start talking about SL voice and technologies?
Yeah, no, I think that the Oz and Grumpy will be the best to answer that. I can say that it's come a long way, and I know they've done a lot of work, and I think a lot of it may come down to sort of people's personal configurations. I apologize if my mic's not coming through as clearly. That may be my particular headset. Hopefully, it's coming through a little bit closer. But yeah, definitely ask that question when Oz and Grumpy are here.
Okay. That sounds good to me. Someone has actually asked for a bear. Do you have a bear to give out?
I do not. Sad to say. 7 years here and I still don't have a bear. Not for lack of trying. I've put together quite a few variations, and I just, it's hard enough for me to try to express myself through my avatar. Trying to express my personality through a bear that I'm going to give out to people is almost a terrifying and daunting and overwhelming concept. So I've iterated a few times, and I'm hoping that I finally get one. By maybe next year, I'll have one to hand out. But yeah, okay. I'm sorry I don't have one. Although Bear Island is back. Get a chance to visit, you should go check it out. I'm not sure where it is. You might be able to find it in the destination guide, where there's lots of past and present bears. I don't think any future ones, because that would be weird. But
I think, yeah, someone's come up with a good idea. Basically, you should have a shopper bear. Perhaps carrying big carrier bags.
Yeah, that might work. Or design a bear for Xiola.
Yeah. Okay. Right. I'm just going to check the YouTube channel, but then I want to ask you. Okay, I think we haven't got questions on the YouTube channel, although people seem to be watching that too, which is kind of cool.
Oh, yeah, hi.
Hello to our TV audience.
Yes, hello, YouTubes.
Okay, so now I was going to ask you about this event and what's going on, because I have seen today, I've had an email that says you're doing an awful lot of things. There is SL15B, and I think the Lindens are more involved in this than they have been for a long, long time. And there's also all sorts of other things going on. And I was hoping you could tell us something about that.
Absolutely, yes. So check your emails, folks. There's also a blog post, which I'll try to grab the URL for. And honestly, there are things that aren't even mentioned in here that we'll probably talk about later this week. But we've got a lot going on. It's 15, again, is such a phenomenal landmark that we had to be involved. And we actually worked a little bit more closely with the community celebration folks this year. We kind of set forth this theme of crystal. Which is one, it's I guess it's like a 15th anniversary gift. But more so when somebody mentioned that, for me, it really resonated with this idea of I don't know. It's in the blog, which you can tell I think I wrote because it's a bit poetic-y and I tend to ramble on. But the idea of sort of this tapestry of time, or like walking through like a Marrakesh market and seeing all the vendors and, seeing things, sort of that mystical fortune teller, the crystal ball, this idea of, past, present, and future. And it also tied really well into the theme of, we've had a lot of crystals with with Linden Realms and some of the other things. And so that kind of took off as the theme, and we worked really closely. I think we actually had lots of the Linden moles that worked on some of the builds this year in addition to the builds that have been done by residents. And so you'll see some of that in what we've done. We had a party this morning. I'm trying to think of things in order. We had a party this morning that was, unfortunately, the first thing we kicked off with, so it was before I was able to tell you guys about it. But we had a Come As You Were party, and I think that name was actually coined by Safia. The first year we did it, we called it the Flashback Party. I think, Safia, you said, oh, kind of a Come As You Were party. And we were like, stealing that. Stealing that.
I'm flattered.
So we had the Come As You Were party this morning from the one, and then took a quick break and then came here. We've got, as Safia mentioned, meet the different folks each week at 2, with Ebe being, I think, Wednesday. Grumpy and Naz on Thursday, Brat on Friday, and then tomorrow is Patch and Kira, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes. So we have that. We have another party. This is going to be, I think, kind of fantastical. I envisioned it as like that scene in Labyrinth where she goes to the dance, the ball. Everybody's obviously, I think, probably seen this, familiar with that scene. But we're having a crystal ball, see what I did there, on Wednesday, Wednesday night, and that is going to be fancy dress. So get your fancy dresses and pants out for that. Want to kind of take it, and I kind of, like I said, I kind of envision, the theme is crystal, so I'm just kind of envisioning sort of this sea of just reflective, shimmery entities in their fancy clothes. So I'm looking forward to that. And then we're doing Music Fest again this year. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday we'll be doing live music, 4 hours each day. We've got a lot of Second Light's most talented musicians, although we couldn't get everybody that we wanted because we just don't have enough time. We had a lot of really amazing musicians come out and audition for that, and I was tasked with the really unfair task of going through and down. So that was rough. And then, like I said, that's going to be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then we've also got a huge shopping event that just opened. There are a couple of folks who came in last minute and saved the day because we did have a few no-shows, unfortunately, and trying to set that up. So if you go today, make sure you also drop back in again next week. That's running, I believe, until July 2nd. And that is 80 merchants, 4 regions. All of them are putting items out for discounted, as well as providing a free gift. So if you go through there, that's like 80 free things. Wow. Plus some, good opportunity to do a little shopping. So be sure to drop in there. And like I said, I'll post the blog post here. But one of the biggest things, which is new, that I wanted to spend a little bit of time about, is this thing we're calling Sell 15 weekly grab. It's actually a new technology that Patch and his team have been working on for a while. And what you want to do, and details are all in the blog as well, is you're going to want to drop by and pick up your HUD today from one place. There is a clue to where a gift is hidden. Those gifts are only available for a week duration, but there's going to be a gift available for the next 14 weeks. If you collect all of them, at the end of this duration, you get one really big prize at the end of it on the 15th. And so that's kind of exciting because it's a little bit of like a scavenger hunt type thing. And you get gifts. I believe we also have a kiosk in the welcoming area here at the community celebrations that has some gifts in it. So you're going to want to drop by that and pick some stuff up. I haven't forgotten anything.
There's one thing I have to ask about the gift grab that Patches Technology has put together. Can you get killed doing it? Because I have been killed in so many Linden games. I have died in so many appalling ways. Am I safe to do the gift grab?
You are not. Everybody else is. But we specifically put in a Kill Safia script. No. Don't quote me on this. I don't think there's a game element in it outside of the Scavenger Hunt-esque part of it. So I think you should be safe. But yeah, I haven't been through the full thing yet, obviously. I still have to go pick up my head. I haven't had it and make sure I grab my gift. What happens if you skip a week, though, you can still collect all over the first 14. You can still collect up to the 14th week, but so you want to make sure you come each week and get your gift. So,
right.
Here is the blog post. Oh, I guess I should shout that, shouldn't I? There we go. That has all of the things that I just talked about in it, as well as I think if there's anything I forgot, it should be in there. So yeah, there's a lot. It's been awesome. I'm so excited, and I'm just like 15. And I still, it's funny though, because I still have this thing where every year I'm like, my parents get back from Mexico, they go there for half the year, they come back. Of course, they want to see me and hang out, and I invite them over. There's a couple of weeks there in June where I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't get together with you. Why? I'm like, I have to work. And then I try to explain to them what I'm doing, and they just, my parents are, they're of a certain generation where they're just like, we don't get it. We don't understand. But okay. So yeah, it's still trying to explain second to my parents. Ongoing.
I've just been told that Kenny Lux wants to see Safia run in Linden Realms with Xiola to see who will die in the toxic waters.
I don't think Kenny likes me very much.
No, not me.
I don't think so. He wants to kill us off.
He actually
just kidding, Kenny.
He actually had a couple of questions for you as well, which I'm going to ask. He asks, do you have a favourite mole? And do you have land in the Linden village?
Do I have a favourite what? Sorry, what was the...
Mole.
Oh. I couldn't tell you. I am always amazed at the work that they all do. I couldn't pick just one, and I know that we have some that work for us off and on as they become busy with other things. I'm trying to think who...
I do actually. I have the cutest one, or rather a Cutest Pair.
A Cutest Pair. Who is that from?
The Cutest Pair.
Oh, Pair. Oh, okay. Who's that?
Ancient and Magic, who run around in the cutest little avatars.
Yeah, my interactions with them have always been pretty cute. Do I have land in the village? I do. Have I kitted it out yet? I have not. It's been sitting there. Actually, Kira pinged me the other day, and she said, there's a parcel for sale for you here from blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I need to get over there. I have a little tiny spot that's Linden World only, so nobody outside of the Linden World where I change and unpack my stuff. And the rest of the time I spend kind of running around and exploring and or shopping. So I just have to get around to building up space there. I have to ask them for some more lindens so I can
Absolutely. And we just had a competition at the Home and Garden Expo with people designing homes. So I can recommend decorators if you don't want to do it yourself.
Ooh, well, I love decorating. It's just that, shopping and then putting it all together takes time, and then you're like, oh, but now it's almost the holiday and I want to dress it up for the holidays. Time to put everything back in my inventory and start all over. But yeah, no, Kira pinged me and I was like, I need to get over that. Maybe after dies down. One of the things that I did when I was over working on the Sansar communities, we did a lot of communities, and I would like to kind of bring some of that back over here. I know we used to kind of do a monthly meetup in World. It'd be kind of cool if we had just like a casual 2 or 3 times a week. People can come and hang out, and maybe maybe I could have them over to my house once I build it. Once I have it, yeah, exactly.
That would be very cool. I think, people have said to me that they would love to see some more meet and greets with the Lindens. And that some people have never met a Linden, and that's a shame.
It is, because, I mean, we spend a lot of time in World, and I think it's just one of those, like, 2 trains passing in the night kind of things. I know that there's a whole group of the folks that work on Second Life that kind of crash around every Tuesday after they have one of their in-world meetings. Hey, let's go explore, and they basically drop in masse to various places, often to chagrin of everybody. Oh my gosh, look at all these Lindens are falling from the sky. And I know that a lot of people, the other thing I'm thinking is that, like me, they spend a good fair share of their time in World using, so you may be meeting Lindens and not even know that you're meeting Lindens. So, yeah. But we definitely could stand to do some more sort of casual hangouts and meetups. I know for one that I'm always willing to hang out, and if I can get some of the other Lindens. I know they're very terribly busy, and none of them are paid to hang out with you guys like I am. So I'll definitely see if I can hunt some of them down and carve out some time and try to bring them to. I mean, you just kind of want to come in and hang out and talk and casual and, you know, always, oh, hey, you do this. Tell me about X, Y, and Z. Or us trying to ask you all for feedback. Sometimes it's just nice to have organic conversations. And so we'll definitely look at doing some more of that in the future.
Someone said to me that they know that some of the Lindens are musicians and DJs. And do you think you could envisage the Lindens throwing a party where they're providing the entertainment?
I think that we're probably the worst at throwing parties. I think we leave that to the experts, which is the community. I mean, we're more than happy to put together themes and that sort of thing, but I mean, to have, you know, today, whoever was playing our party today was just did such an amazing, incredible job that was there, and the DJ that we have lined up for the crystal ball. I think we're more than happy to show up for a party. We love parties, and we certainly like putting together these types of costume contests. But I don't know if we would go so far as to arranging all of the other stuff. You know, there's so many different things to think about when it comes to that. Maybe if we did a kind of I don't know. I'm almost envisioning this, and my fellow Lindens are going to kill me, but I'm almost envisioning like a open mic, aka talent show, Linden coming and doing things.
Linden's Got Talent, yes.
But you know, making sure that, you know, when we perform, we're within the laws of doing so. Would be interesting. Like maybe we could actually have people do original music or anything like that. It's an idea. Let me think about this one and see how I can include and engage my fellow Lindens.
Yeah, the audience are going wild.
I can see that. Well, believe me, you do not want to hear me sing, so be careful what you wish for. Be careful what you wish for.
I'm actually forbidden. I mean, the other Designing World crew drew up my contract to forbid me from singing. They'd even rather be driven by me in a car than hear me sing. So, you know, I can sympathise. Okay, someone asked me, they wanted to know, how do people find out about Linden organised events?
Well, we generally post about them on our blog. Definitely want to make sure you're following us on all of our social medias, which right now I think we have Facebook, Twitter, Flickr, YouTube, Plurk, which is this weird thing that I know many Second Life people love. And I think Second Life people are probably the only people who use it. You guys are probably keeping them in business. We have a Tumblr, and we also most recently have it. And I think if you go and you look at our blog and you look at some of the picture of the day posts, you should see everything. All of the links to those are. Our Instagram has been so much fun. I have to say, I've been having a great time posting there. It's so good.
I'm gonna have to start following it. Yeah,
definitely check it out. Like, our first post was the little blinky cube. It all starts with a cube. That was our first post. And like I said, I mean, if Second Life were a Latina teenager, we'd be having a quinceañera this year. So the fact that we're 15 means, like, we're responsible enough to have an Instagram. I don't think we're responsible enough for Snapchat, though. I don't know. We'll see.
Or possibly WhatsApp.
Oh, the WhatsApp. Do people use that for anything other than talking, like, back and forth? There's not, like, a social aspect of that other than...
I was reading something about how it's being used to spread fake news, so I don't think we really want to...
Oh, interesting. The one thing that I find interesting, people ask me all the times, oh yes, Google Plus, we have that too. Again, another, I think, platform where Second Life users tend to be very prominent because of an anonymity ability. But one of the things I find interesting, I've gotten a lot of questions. So when I was over on Sansar, I started a Sansar Discord because the place the product was at, there wasn't a lot of social features yet, and it was an easy way for everybody to talk. Since then, I've had a lot of people ask, will you do a Second Life Discord, which I think there are some fan-driven ones. I can only imagine what a hot mess it would be to have that many people in one Discord channel from all of those different walks of life, talking and arguing and engaging. I don't know. I'm terrified of the idea, but it's something that I'm thinking about. If there's a way we could do it where we could keep it, safe and happy and not have somebody spend their entire time doing nothing but moderating the content there, it's a possibility. But the way I try to imagine all of the people online right now on Second Life in the same Discord channel, and I think, is that a recipe for, like, amazingness, or is that a recipe for, like, disaster? It's hard to say. Could go either way.
I've heard of some that are related to in-worlds, but that's a much smaller community, so I can see that would work. But yeah, the whole thing open up could be a bit of a yeah.
But it's something I think about, and I certainly, like I said, if there maybe, I know Discord is still developing a lot of features, and as their features become better and better, and there's more and more of them, maybe we could figure out a way to do something like that. In the short term right now, it's Instagram is the latest, and you'll have to definitely check it out.
I did have one question. I don't know if you're the person who can answer this. And that was, someone wanted to know why there are only general regions and not moderate and mature. At the SL 15B.
Because this is a celebration that we want to be open to everybody. And that is one of the main things. And also because these regions are I'm not sure exactly how we have them set up this year. I think even though the community celebration folks are the ones who have been doing a ton of the coordination and sort of figuring out who goes where and what, I believe we're still technically the owners on them, so we kind of have to be thoughtful about that kind of content. Plus, there's a lot of that stuff elsewhere in Second Life. and this is just kind of one of those places where we wanted to kind of be like, Disneyland, in the regard that you can bring your young ones here, young technically for Second Life, or relatively speaking, that it's an enjoyable experience. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I know that came up a bit when I was involved in organising it, and people were saying, couldn't they have adult? But if you want to make it a safe space for as many people as possible, and that includes teenagers who can access the grid and perhaps adults who have vulnerabilities, that actually keeping it down to a moderate, keeping it down to a general level is actually not a bad thing. There are other places where you can have adult.
And I mean, we have nothing, and we have nothing against, adult and moderate. I mean, I'm sure, as we all know, there's good money to be made in those areas, and so we thank you, those of you who, deal in that stuff, and I'm sure that there are many of us who probably are a little bit more, I want to say open-minded, I guess for lack of a better word, open-minded on our alts and explore all types of different things. We certainly appreciate that. But it is kind of that, figuring out how best to be inclusive of as many people as possible, kind of have to keep things a little bit cleaner. And plus, it's just, it definitely, when we're doing things like the shopping event, for example, that we're doing, have 80 merchants. And if we were to open it up to that kind of content, having to go through and moderate it and make sure there was nothing that was triggering or any of that stuff would be rough. So yeah, that's pretty much the reason why. More people can come and enjoy the general audience stuff, and then go back to their moderate and adult content stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So, is there a way, you've talked about the ways that you're reaching out through social media and offering people as many opportunities as possible to find out about Second Life. I just wonder, what is the best way for residents to do similar sorts of publicity? Because very few of them have kind of big, sweeping publicity people behind them.
Yeah, so I mean, there's I think we actually have a community resource portal on the Second Life wiki that tells you all of the various ways in which you can promote your event, and that is from making sure you get it listed in the destination guide, getting it listed in the events section, all of these other things. Certainly Brett and I spend a lot of time trying to capture some of the stuff. There's so much that goes on, so many events that go on, and so many really cool things that we don't hear about until after they're we try to keep as on top of things as we can. Obviously, some of the stuff that happens every year, the different fairs and things like that we have, we know about those. But outside of that, sometimes it's really hard for us to capture all of that. So, I mean, you can always drop a note card. I think one of the best things too is, like I said, making sure you get it into the destination guide, which there's also, I believe, information on the website on either the wiki or on our knowledge base about how to submit your events to the destination guide. And that is actually curated manually by a team who looks at those and puts those together, and I have it in a bug in their ear to like, hey, if you see anything, let me know about it, that we can also help maybe amplify on our social media channels. So I think those are some of the best ways to make sure you do. So yeah, take a look at that community, I think it's called Community Resources Portal on the wiki.
Right. So we've kind of come to the top of the hour now. In fact, we've gone slightly past it. So I'm going to say, does anyone have any other questions that they would like to someone has asked a question on the live stream, Laurie TV, about uploading a mesh direct from Marvelous Designer to Sansar. Is there a chance that Lindens will change the clothes upload here in Second Life to this function too? My feeling is, Laurie, that that's a question for Oz. I think Xiola's question in clothing comes at it from a slightly different angle.
Yeah, I think we might. I think Ebe may actually have touched on that a little bit recently. I'll have to go back. But yeah, definitely bring that up with Oz and Grumpy because I don't remember the question. I think there may be some technical difficulties in doing something similar. That is actually one of the really, really cool things about Sansar, though. I agree. It's really neat to see that, to be able to do that. And also just to, when you're customizing your avatar, be able to kind of zhuzh your clothing on you and see it kind of move and stuff. I would love to see that here, too. I don't know how feasible, but certainly if you have a chance, ask when Oz and Grumpy are in the hot seat.
Okay. I was going to... Yeah, there's a couple more questions here. Alaska wants to know if Linden Labs would ever be interested in trying to restart the real-life community celebration someday, like an SL Con.
Yeah, it's a conversation that we've had a little bit, gone back and forth on that. As I recall, required that was before my time, I think, was the last one. So I haven't gotten to witness it, but I know that there was a fair bit of really intensive organizational work that was involved in that from the community as well as internally. Right now, we definitely don't have the resources to try something like that. I think we talked a little bit about potentially continuing it if the community was able to kind of take the charge and lead on that, but I think it was also kind of one of those overwhelming things for them as well. So I do know that there are steps that different communities do. I've seen the musician community in particular does a lot of meetups, and they're a lot more casual. It's not like a con environment. Yeah, musicians definitely often. And I've certainly encouraged those of you who appreciate and enjoy doing offline meetups to keep doing that. I'm always I think to myself, with Second Life, it's like if you throw a meetup in a physical location, like how many people are going to show up? So many of us like to just keep it separate, and so for me, I think to myself, how would that be? And I don't know. I know that the SLCC was pretty popular when we did have it, but it was also, I think, very, very resource intensive. Let me put it on my list of things to keep thinking about, though, because I do see people ask about that a lot.
I think one of the disadvantages that Second Life is such a worldwide community that someone's going to have to pay one hell of a travel bill to get to it wherever they are.
Yeah, that's one of the wonderful things about kind of doing the local meetups, in different areas. And I know that there are companies that do that type of thing. They have teams whose exclusive role is to fly around and put together and or make appearances at those types of things. But yeah, if we did ones, for example, in San Francisco, how many here would actually be able to fly out and go and attend? I'm curious. Maybe people, if they knew ahead enough, would save up for it, but yeah, there's definitely a cost that gets accrued with it. So, but yes, let me tinker that idea around in my head some more and see. I think even if there's ways in which we can better promote other meetups if people are doing them within the community and making sure people are aware of those, we can do a better job about helping uplift that stuff as well. So. Yeah.
That would be cool. I enjoy going to cons.
Yeah.
Someone wants to ask a question on voice, as they explain better in voice. Someone says that your avatar in Sansar is no longer on someone's contact list, Leben Core. Has your Sansar account been deleted, and who is your new counterpart in Sansar?
No, she hasn't been deleted. I just haven't, unfortunately, had as much time. I actually bounced in there recently for the first time in a while and got to test out some of the new features there. I think I may have done a friend list cleaning at some point, and if I hadn't seen you online in a while, I may have removed you, but you're more than welcome to add me back over there, and I'll get you back on my list. I just try to keep my list as short as possible over there, especially because there's no way to sort through it. So when you have a really long list of people who you're in contact with and you're trying to scroll through and not in alphabetical order, anybody here from the San it can get a little bit frustrating. So I definitely probably was trying to list as short as possible. Sorry if it was taken personally.
You've still got your experience over there, have you?
I do. It's still there. I haven't visited it in a while. It got broken at one point, and I think the scripts that I had running in it, which were courtesy of one of the really incredible scripters that's part of that community and this community as well, Gindable, I think might be here. I did get a message from him. I think he's in the when they changed some of the features and functionality through a release, I think some of his scripts got broken by the changes that the team made. So I haven't had a chance to go back and fix it. So I don't know if Cannonball Dodgeball is working. Oh, yep, there's Gin. Hey, Gin. Yeah, so, but it's still there. And that was a lot of fun. I mean, I was really set forth on a color palette, and it just kind of went crazy with it. I wanted it to kind of be that sort of surreal, sort of Oingo Boingo-esque sort of, what's his name? Oh gosh, Nightmare Before Christmas-y kind of style.
Oh, yeah.
By
Tim
Burton, yes.
Yeah.
And it was awesome that I was able to just grab a bunch of stuff off the marketplace and do that. And with the help of the scripting that Gimple had, make it more active and fun. And we did do last Halloween, we did a Cannonball Dodgeball there, which was a good time. And you can go over there, and I think you can ride the carousel. And I'll have to get back over there and see if I can pick it up. But it's still there. Just look for, I think it's called Starry Stars stuff. Just like that, Starry Stars and stuff. But you can search for Starry Stars and you'll probably find it.
Great. Well, I enjoyed it. And you found a game that killed me.
Yep. Exactly.
Killed even in Sansar. Yeah.
Yep. Like I said, it's something our team is actively looking at, ways in which we can kill Saphia's avatars.
Yeah. Special kill Saphia scripts. Okay, Nick wants to voice questions. At the moment, I've got voice turned off. I mean, hearing turned off. I'm going to turn it on so I can hear you, Nick. Okay. Can you do that too?
Let me see here. Yeah, because we're doing voice through another program so that we get a cleaner recording of it. So let me see. What do I need to do? Do I need to turn down this and turn up voice, or are we going to get double? I guess I can just turn it back down before I answer. That's what I'll do.
Yeah.
All right, let's see here. 1 second.
Okay. How to go in voice then, Nick?
Okay, so as you can tell, I'm in the UK. Is there a way that Linden Lab will do a UK office? That way us UK...
Not hearing, are you?
I am. Yes, I can.
Can you hear me now?
Read the question. Okay, thanks.
Okay.
So pretty much, I'm in the UK, and there's a lot of us now coming from the UK. Is there a way that Linden Labs will have something easier for support? Because obviously we have to call an American number that will charge us a lot of money.
Okay. Nick is saying he's in the UK, and is there any way that there could be support in the UK, a support office in the UK? Because at the moment, if you want to contact Linden Lab or Linden Support by phone, you have to phone America, and that's quite expensive.
Yeah.
I would say probably that's a good question to ask Patch and Kira when they're here. I know that they try to be with the people and the resources that we have to cover, excuse me, as wide of a range as possible. But, you know, if there are areas that are where you feel that there may not be support, definitely bring that up with them. Did Patch disappear? I see somebody shouts Beetlejuice, and as I'm talking about Patch and his team, I wonder if that means, if that's what happened. Did I say his name 3 times and he showed up? But yeah, I know that is a constant sort of juggling act and trying to balance things. And we have a really fantastic support team, and we tend to like to keep them sort of kind of in the same place. But I do know that hours sometimes.
And the charges.
Yeah, and I mean, I know that there are other ways in which you can get a hold of them. I know you're specifically asking about phone support, so maybe that's something. Bring that up with Patch and Kira when they're here.
Because also, when your phone lines are open, it's like past midnight for us.
Okay, yes, there's also the time zone problem, and if there was a phone number in the UK, that might be easier for people in Europe and the UK.
Yeah, no, time zone is definitely, I definitely got that from the original question. So, I don't know, for some reason I couldn't hear you in voice, so thank you, Safia, for relaying that question.
That's okay, it'll be picked up by an hour or two. Okay. Does anyone have any other questions? And people who've asked questions that we've said you should ask Oz or you should ask Patch, I hope you can come back and ask them. It's Patch and Kira tomorrow. It's Ebe on Wednesday. It's Oz and Grumpety on Thursday. And it's Brett on Friday. So if you've got questions that are more targeted towards them, please come and ask them. They're all at 2 p.m. at SLT, Monday to Friday. And thank you all for coming today. It's been great. Xiola, thank you so much for coming and talking to me when you're so shattered.
Oh no, thank you for having me. And despite the lack of sleep and all the craziness, I was really looking forward to this. I love hanging out and talking, and hopefully we can get more of a two-way conversation going with some of these meetup ideas that we were talking about, so it isn't just me sitting on the couch answering questions. Although, you know, I don't mind that so much. I like to talk, so it's okay. No, but it'd be nice to kind of do some more intimate sort of meetups like we did over in Sansar, and really just, like I said, more of a two-way conversation. So thank you for doing what you do, Safia, with all of the interviews that you do, even outside of SL15B. I definitely appreciate being in. And I'll probably be hanging out either backstage or sidelines for some of our other folks when they next week. If anybody thinks of anything else that they forgot to ask me, they're more than welcome to shoot me an IM. See me around. So thank you so much, everybody. Happy 15th life. And I hope I see you at some of our stuff we have scheduled.
I know that I'm heading off tomorrow morning to get my HUD.
Yes, I'm going to do that tonight, I hope. That's my goal, but we'll see. I might just end up logging off at the end of all of the things going on in the earlier part of today and then passing out. We'll see. I'm going to wake up like at my desk with QWERTY stuck on my forehead or something. Yeah, thinking I'll be like mumbling 15B.
Actually, I did see at least one other Linden in the audience. I saw another blue dot, but he's disappeared now.
Ooh, I wonder who it was.
I can tell you, it was Stephen.
Oh, Stephen Linden, okay. I'll have to say,
I
don't either, actually. I'm going to have to be like, hey, Stephen, thanks for stopping by. Let's get some coffee or something, virtually or otherwise. Yeah, awesome. I bet you there's some in the audience on alts, maybe, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Thanks so much again, Safia.
Thank you. And Dawny, thank you. Dawny's our stage manager who's making things run smoothly for us. So thank you, Dawny.
Oh, yes. Somebody was asking about Torley. No, Torley, Torley is through and through a Second Life resident, but, his talents have been put towards Sansar as of late, and so we weren't able to snag him for Meet the Lindens. Sadly. But you got lots of really cool people coming who work full-time on Second Life, so you get to ask lots of fun questions specifically about Second Life.
I actually think that it's quite exciting that several people have come back to Second Life.
Yeah, it's been really interesting, and I know, I'm sorry, hopefully you don't need the auditorium right this very minute because I'm rambling again, but it's been interesting to see people who are in both Sansar and Second Life, and those who I worked with from the community manager perspective over there, and then bumping back into them over here. It's really cool. It's kind of fun sometimes when we talk about kind of identity. And, over there, I was my real name, and here I have a Linden name, and how that feels different. And unfortunately, I think some people have had a hard time adjusting back to that. Even my own boss will still be in a conversation sometimes and refer by my real name, and I'm like, that's not the name to use here. But it's kind of fun and it's interesting. But I mean, it's like the people are people, and I mean, the personalities that I've gotten to know in both worlds, Sansar and Second Life, like those are people that I would know if I ran into them anywhere else too. So at the end of the day, it's really about the person behind the name and all of that. And so that's been really cool to kind of see that and to see how people feel about it. I know some people actually got an IM saying, gosh, Second Life is laggier than and then I've had people say the opposite when they it's I can't on it. So I guess it's just really a particular experience. Yeah, it's great to see people both. I definitely am going to try to spend more time over there too once Second Life is wrapped up, so I have a little more free time because I miss kind of checking things out over there and talking to folks. So I'll be bouncing back and forth more, but still primarily only working on Second Life.
Nick has just asked, will Sansar be able to work on other PCs instead of just certain ones? I think he means, will it work with Linux? Will it work on Macs? Will it work on lower grade PCs?
Yeah, I think that over time it's gotten better. They've been focusing a lot on performance and optimization there. I think some of the limitations have been on, how do you get something like that to run on in an optimal way on other machines, maybe lower end machines, and I don't know where that threshold will be. I do know the big difference, and I think Ebbe has talked about this, is in Second Life, we're rendering everything live, right? We're sitting in here and stuff is rendering. Over there, people aren't used to it. I think one of the big complaints is like, it takes 20 minutes for a scene to load. But what's happening over there is instead of logging in and looking at gray people, I see gray people for 20 minutes. It is pre-loading and caching all of that so that as soon as you pop into getting the full picture. And so I think that there's kind of a big differentiator there in how things operate, that people who are used to a specific have a different one there. It shouldn't take this long. That's kind of like the big that you're front loading here or you're not front loading, you're live loading here and you're front loading there, and so you're either spending that time looking at stuff resing in, trying to res it all in, or you're waiting for the whole scene to load. So I suggest everybody just give it a try. Certainly is not one of those situations where you have to pick one and get your check it out. I certainly recommend giving it a shot and see. Probably bump into some other Second Life users over there, and just to kind of get an idea of what's different. And if you then decide, no, it's not for me, that's one thing, but at least you'll know why it's not for you. So I think a lot of people, again, this community, we're a little terrified of different. And so if you go over there and experience it, you may decide, oh, hey, I could see myself popping in here once in a while and checking things out, or in addition to all the time I already spend in Second Life. So yeah, definitely do it. But give it a try. Like I said, I know they're working on that, and maybe that's a question for Ebe, maybe when he's here on Wednesday, if you wanted to check in with him a little bit about that. There's progress being made on accessibility tech-wise. So I'm not sure exactly where they've landed on that lately. I just got a new computer this year, so I'm fortunate enough to not run into struggles with running either Sansar or Second Life right now. Unless I'm in Ultra and start trying to cam around and look at every avatars, then I can run into some trouble.
Yeah, the venturing outside and looking at things can take some time too, until everything's rezzed.
Pim Peckable, sorry to interrupt there. It can be used in VR, but you don't need VR. You don't need the VR equipment. You can fully experience it in desktop mode. So I wouldn't let that hold you back. I mean, the first time I saw my own experience in VR, I will say I was almost in tears. It was amazing. But I was almost in tears at how amazing it was outside of VR too. So definitely don't let that hold you back from taking a look at it. I mean, yeah, it's something else. It's different, and it's good to understand why it's different. So definitely hope that people will appreciate both for a long, long time. Obviously, we're at our 15th birthday here, and I'm hoping there will be, I'm looking forward to, I should say, not forward to 50. Oh.
The 30th, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So.
Okay, right. Well, thank you so much for coming here today and talking. It's been a lot of fun. And audience, thank you too for coming here and enjoying it. Inara Pay has been making a recording of this, which will be appearing on her blog in due course, Living in a Modern World. And that will give you a chance to read about all the things we talked about.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody. It was great to see you.
And I'm turning second.